Hey guys, welcome back to my watercolor channel, and today I paint some winter trees, some spruces at the top of a mountain or at the top of a tundra. I only use two colors for this painting. So my main colors is cobalt blue and indigo blue. I start with the sky, so I wetted the top of the paper and added a light layer of cobalt blue, and it's a little bit of a gradient wash, so I want that the top has a darker shades, but definitely the lower part is nearly white. I continue with my trees, so there's a tree line very far at the back, and this color is mixed. This mixture is made out of indigo blue and cobalt blue, but it's still quite light in pigment, and you can see that the paper was quite wet at this point. And the closer I come to the foreground, the darker the color becomes. However, the part where the spruces are standing is left dry, so I have a nice hard edges at the front. I add here more of a indigo blue mixture. I wanted to add there basically some more spruces, but in much smaller form. And I take off some of the paint and some of the water, because at this point it was still too wet that it was not possible to create the form of the spruce, even though it's a little bit further away and I wanted to keep it wet to wet. But I added more indigo blue to the mixture. Now it looks much darker, and I'm able to add the form of the trees with a very thin brush, so you can really recognize, and it still has its blurry specific form of the trees. I don't want to add too many details to the foreground, as the background is slightly full, so I'll keep it here very light. And I use cobalt blue for the foreground, so it's again a very light layer. And then emphasizing some of the edges while the paper is still wet, also while the patches where I added the cobalt blue is still wet, some indigo blue. I wait till everything has dried, and then I continue with my main trees. I add a light layer of cobalt blue, and then I continue to add the shadowy parts with indigo blues. It's basically like a flat wash, so you have to be quite careful to add the darker color. Make sure that it is still quite wet and that it hasn't dried out too much. So it is also possible just to wait till the first layer has dried and then wet it again and add the second layer of a much darker color. But basically I focus on the shape of the spruce, and then one tree is ready, I continue with the other trees in the same way. So just adding the first layer of cobalt blue and then adding a much darker layer to emphasize the branches. It's like the third tree the same way. And I use a big brush, so make sure that the color is spread evenly. And once I'm happy, I'm using a much smaller brush to add darker layer. I have the feeling that I might have maybe the main tree which is in the middle. I should have started with that, but yes, everything is a learning process. Now we had a lot more snow, so I thought it would be nice to still embrace the winter magic. Although I have to admit, I look forward to the spring. While the trees are still wet, I add more shadows underneath. It's quite fun to create this painting with only 2 colors. Adding some edges, continue with the main tree. The same way, having colored blue. And then mixing more indigo blue. And now emphasizing especially the side branches of the tree. Adding here some light branches, a bit darker, especially as the tree is supposed to give some dark shadows on the trees behind. But you can see slightly that the first wash is drying out quite fast, especially at the top, but at the bottom I had much more time, so it gives me time to create some roundness there. And in contrast, I add some birds at the background. Make sure that they fly in different, that the wings are showing different directions, so it really helps with the composition. But that was it, so thank you for watching and remember to subscribe. Bye!